Cloud Town. The cloud was heavier than we expected. It had rough skin like the hide of an elephant, and its graying insides were dank as a seaside cave. We were drawn to the cloud because it promised something, though we weren't quite sure what. It had fallen from the sky obscurely. A suicide attempt? When it landed, it splashed wet white foam, which we first thought of as snow, onto some of the adjacent buildings. We wondered if there'd be others. There was a term coined, kamikaze weather. But the cloud remained alone, willfully singular. We integrated the cloud into our lives. We blocked off the street, encircled the cloud with orange cones and yellow-black police tape. Sundays were the most popular visiting days. Admission was half off, and there were organized meditations. We'd sit lotus-style, we'd hum quietly, and we'd stare into the cloud, its ethereal whiteness, its seductive, tantalizing vagueness, to ask it in words or in spirit for guidance. The cloud never provided the actual guidance, of course. It was merely a conduit for us to provide our own versions of guidance to ourselves. But still, the people came in droves from cities near and distant. There were names for the cloud in over 90 different languages. An Egyptologist developed a hieroglyph. It was meant to look like a cloud, but more closely resembled a pencil sketch of a shower cap. Soon it was said that the cloud was the most universally recognized entity on the planet. Poets wrote its sonnets, opera singers sang it arias, museum exhibitions were dedicated to both literal and metaphorical representations. This was all quite a boon for tourism, and of course we milked it, calling ourselves Cloud Town. It was said by some that the cloud was God, and by others that the cloud served as a crucial reminder of God's shape-shifting omnipotence. He is within our hearts, our animals, our books, our buildings, our bullet holes, our traffic lights, and yes, within our clouds. Others argued the cloud disproved the existence of God. Surely no God would allow such a thing as a fallen cloud to disrupt his grand design, and thus it follows that the universe is random. Regardless, we saw the cloud as received knowledge. Our librarians struggled to find ways to catalog it, to wedge it into the established paradigms. Of course, you could file it under C, somewhere between cloak and clover. You could set it down next to air, water, mountain, and sky. You could gather them together. You could take a group photo, but it would have to be on a sunny day since there was no flash photography allowed within a mile of the cloud. We speculated rampantly on what the cloud might say were it possessed of the ability to speak. There was a poll taken by a popular magazine, and the consensus was that the cloud would say, "Hola, muchachos." One afternoon, some kids broke through the barriers and spray-painted a mouth and some teeth onto the cloud. Luckily, the paint evaporated and the kids were punished in spectacular and thrilling fashion. There was gossip about the cloud's personal life, rumors that it was seeing an actress, that it might be serious. There were grumblings the cloud was unhappy with its roped-off position in the square, that it wanted a more prominent, permanent location. Words like ego and prima donna were bandied about, unabashed and out in the open. This is when the speculation first started that the cloud was planning a skyward return. We were all forced to consider what this might mean. We went through the mental exercise of pre-drilling the tiny holes in our hearts that the cloud's departure would surely leave us with. Not quite all of us, however. A few of us started scheming a little scheme. We would break through the elephant hide skin of the cloud. We would enter into its craggy, damp, cottony folds, its inner sanctum. We would curl ourselves up into fetal balls and ready ourselves to rise up into the sky. We would ride over the city. We would look down upon the great buildings and laugh cruelly at their silly insignificance, their pointy, caricatured, phallic quality. We would look down upon all our friends and neighbors and the way they moved about, jittery as ants. The further away they became, the more absurd seemed the notion that they were recognizably human, that they had heartbeats, free will. There would be something new for us up there, we knew. Not God, nothing overtly spiritual like that. There would be instead just us, the fact of us, living inside a cloud, surrounded by all the others, a crowd of clouds, and we'd be maybe wondering if this was what transcendence really felt like, and was there any more to it? Wait, hold on, wasn't there supposed to be? Or was it just kind of this? The cold, the quiet, the city below, the clouds like eggs, the sky as incubator.